And welcome back, Triple J. Wow. Grizz get a win on the road at the L.A. Clippers, 121-103. They own the Clippers. Good job by them. Arch Manning is coming back. He's going to be a Texas Longhorn again next year. So says his dad. We will talk with our friend Ron Higgins about that. Steve Earhart was at the Army-Navy game. You know, he used to run with Donald Trump back in the day. I wonder if he was able to have a meeting with him when they were both in Baltimore. Over the weekend, the Tigers play Vanderbilt. They're one of 7 undefeated teams in the country. They play, of course, tomorrow, and we will speak with Jason Munz about that. So we've got a full lineup. Earhart, Higgins, Munz, all coming your way. So last night, Triple J, 21 in the first half. He hadn't had more than 15 in, it seems like, a month and a half. He finally hit threes. I think he'd missed 13 in a row. He had 31 points, 4 assists, 4 rebounds, 2 steals, 5 blocks. Holy smokes. They held Kawhi Leonard to 21. That's pretty good, really. The story of Cam Spencer, pretty darn good. Now, I never get carried away with numbers when rosters are limited. And I always say this, and I may sound like a broken record, so if I am, I apologize. But every NBA team is going to score 100 points, no matter who's out there. They play 48 minutes. Somebody's going to get numbers. Cam Spencer's been getting numbers because he's getting minutes. It's that simple. But he's making the most of those minutes. Last night, he couldn't miss, practically. A career-high 27, 7 of 10. 70% from three-point range. What does he think? He's the Louisville Cardinals? That's how good he is. When they get everybody back, what are they going to do about Cam Spencer? What is Tuomas Isolo going to do when he gets everybody back? But will he have John Morant to worry about? John Morant hurt again at the end of the game, limped off in the fourth quarter, went to the bench. He only played 20 minutes. Of course, I think he's on a 25-minute restriction anyway. But he didn't get those last 5 minutes in. He didn't go to the locker room. He sat on the bench, but he never returned to the game. And now you got to wonder, is he out for a couple of more games? I keep thinking before February's out, I'm going to go back to what Andy Schiffman told us a month ago. He said by the end of the trade deadline, which takes place in February, one of these two guys will not be there. Jaren Jackson Jr. or John Morant. Landon Schmidt, nodding your head. Do you believe that?
I would just preface by saying I wouldn't want to lose either superstar, but I can see that's probably the direction it's going.
Here's the one thing. Do you build this team around Zach Edey? I was listening to Greg and Eli talking to their guy this morning who does a good job. First off, what do you get for John Morant at this point? He is definitely not at peak value. But
I remember
you've won more than you've lost without him.
Yeah, I remember. I think I was talking with Andy. Their stock is not at the all-time high that it is right now. So you're probably looking at some picks in maybe a mid to okay range player.
I think you got to get better than that. You got to get a good player.
You'd want it better than that.
Not a mid-range player. You got to get a good player and a pick or two for John Morant. But
yeah.
here is the problem. And the guy that he had on, I forget his name, forgive me. But I don't know that John Morant will ever get back to the fearlessness that he had going into the paint. And that's where his value really was. He's never been a great shooter. And his numbers from being very average at best have gotten worse. He's not a great shooter. He's a great scorer. but he does that inside with his aerial antics. And if he's fearful of doing that, and he seems to get hurt a lot because of it, his body is just not that big and strong, then his value is diminished. It's certainly not what it was after his third year, say. So, and then, as the guy brought up, you got the attitude problem, you've got not coachable problem. So I don't know. And now, if you're building around Edey, do you need Jaren Jackson Jr. as much? And when Edey was in, Jaren Jackson Jr. did not score. And we haven't seen what? How many minutes do you think Edey and John Morant have played together? Not many. So I don't know. I don't know if either will leave, but I do remember, because Andy Schiffman's a pretty smart and wired guy. He said that a month ago, so we keep our eye on all of that for sure. I do want to sort of congratulate both of us. We were 2-3 last week with our NFL picks. So I am now 36-32 on the year. Brandon, you are now 10 games under 500 at 29-39. By the way, the Grizz now 10-12 with that win, which would be good ninth if the playoffs started today in the play-in. They play at Minnesota tomorrow. One last note before we bring in our good friend, the Big Cheese, the head honcho of the AutoZone Liberty Will, Steve Earhart. What a night for Aaron Rodgers last night. 24 of 27. Yes, you heard me. 24 of 27. And how about Kenny Gainwell? Combined with running and catching, I think he had like almost 130 yards. It was a big win over Miami. That probably gets the Steelers into the playoffs because they've got the easier schedule. Now, the Ravens, and who are now a game behind, the Ravens and the Steelers, and both of them, the only way they get into the playoffs is by winning the division. So it's down to those two in that AFC division. They play each other the final game of the year, but it's in Pittsburgh. So everything looks like the Steelers and Aaron Rodgers, and this is going to be his last year. They're going to go out by making the playoffs, I would have to think. And there's so many guys on Pittsburgh. Besides Gainwell, you got Calvin Austin. You've got Arthur Smith as their OC. I do think a lot of Memphis folks, and let's face it, the Pittsburgh Steelers might be the second America's team. They draw so well on the road. They're unbelievable. We'll keep our eye on all of that. I sit in the Family Leisure Studios, and a reminder, it's going through Christmas now, the hot tub and swim spot clearance where you can get a hot tub at under $2,500. You can get in-stock patio furniture up to 50% off if it's in the store. And you see how beautiful it is. You're getting half off. And if you mention us when you get a spa, you get a special gift. That's like Christmas. Oh, it is Christmas. Their gifts are really good. They really are. All you got to do is get there. Tell them we sent you. You get that special gift. And just go see Billy or Lindsay. They'll take care of you at Family Leisure. We go cross town. Our good friend, the Big Cheese, the head honcho of the AutoZone Liberty Bowl, is Steve Earhart, who in another life was once running around with Donald Trump. So, you and Trump were both in Baltimore for the Army-Navy game. Did you guys have any time together?
No, David. I had the last time I went, I did spend some time sitting with Donald, but this time I only made a late minute decision. And the security now, you got to go through the White House and everything. But I did talk to some of the security guys, and one thing I found very interesting in that wonderful Baltimore Ravens stadium there, they had two of the beasts, the huge vehicles that he rides around, and they have the one that he actually is in, and then you got the decoy beast.
Wow.
But they were there underneath, along the walkway underneath the stadium. But, yeah, what a great spectacle. The Army-Navy game, one of the great events in our country.
Well, what were you doing? What were you thinking? Was your heart in your throat on 4th down and 7 when Navy pulled it off?
You're right, David, because when we invited the Naval Academy to come to the AutoZone Liberty Bowl game, I mean, they're wonderful people, but we had to do that the week before the Army Navy game, and that's such an intense rival. You never know what's going to happen. And when Army was leading, basically 16-7 through most of the second half, and then it was 4th and 7. I thought, oh my gosh, because they may never get the ball back, but he zipped that pass in there, and those are just some great players they have on Navy. The quarterback, of course, all the Memphis folks know Blake Horvath, senior year, and then number 22, and then their All-American nose tackle. But, I had a lot of trepidation there when it was 4th and 7, but we're so proud that Navy won, and it's amazing the intensity of that rivalry. And after the game, these young men and women, it's unbelievable, because this is what they work for, and it's so go Navy, beat Army the entire game. Of course, in the locker room afterwards, what a celebration. They're tossing players around. The superintendent, who's a Marine general, he's growling with a helmet on, and the Secretary of the Navy is down in there, and the players are just celebrating, because remember, I think with the 30 seniors they've already got their assignment. So in the next 6 months, they'll be either on a submarine somewhere, or on a SEAL team, or an aircraft carrier as officers leading our country. So it really is amazing. I recommend to anybody, and you too, David, if you get a chance, get your bucket list and go to an Army-Navy game.
I've always wanted to do that, seriously. Now that I've been to both Annapolis several times, and I've been to West Point twice, but I've never seen them play. They used to play in Philly all the time. It was in Baltimore this time, which is, close to the D.C. area, close enough. I think it's really cool, and I'm really glad you are getting Navy for this game. I know we all want to see an SEC team in, and I think we all have our feelings hurt that the SEC has sort of neglected this bowl. At least that's my thought. I know you're not saying that. I am. But I will tell you, after watching this Navy team several times, I think it's a special team. You don't, and I know they've had great quarterbacks, and we've played them. William Perry, I think that was his name. I'm trying to remember. Perry was terrific.
That's right, Malcolm Perry.
Malcolm Perry, mm-hmm. Thank you. Malcolm Perry was terrific. But Horvath is a special guy. But not just Horvath. He's had the number one receiver, because they've changed their offense a little bit, but he's a great player in Heidenreich. Chapman is a terrific slot back. They've had him forever. So, you got 3 guys on that offense that are just special guys. And then you mentioned the nose tackle who's so good, and there's a sophomore. I can't remember if he's a linebacker or a safety that's really good on that team. But most of those guys will be gone, thank goodness. When Memphis plays them again next year, it seems like I think they're playing both Army and Navy next year. I'm not 100% certain, but I think that's the case.
Yeah. Well, I certainly hope, and I really recommend Memphis folks come out and spend some time, honoring these young men and women, and that they'll have the drum and bugle corps there. It's not like the home game there on Thanksgiving Day. They're renting out the entire Pipkin building, just taking that over, bringing officers in from all over the country, and they're really doing right by Memphis. And they're so looking forward to being here. And, again, so I hope all the folks that would just like to have a great experience, but also honor these young men and women and the Naval Academy. They're just so professional. As I say, this afternoon, I'm picking up three of their officers who are going to be in town here looking around. They're going to be staying down at the Peabody. The Drum and Bugle Corps will be staying down at the Hyatt Centric. And they're coming in on Monday, the 29th. And, of course, the game is that Friday, so they'll be here all week. So hopefully roll out the red carpet. All the folks, in Memphis, it's a great opportunity to showcase our city. We talked about the Safe Task Force, and we want to invite all the Safe Task Force people to come to the game and honor them for their service here. They're hardworking young men and women as well here that maybe you can debate the politics of that, but these are young people that we'd like to honor. So I really reach out to Memphians to come out to the game. It's Friday afternoon, January 2nd, and it's an opportunity for us to showcase our city. We got enough things going on, and this is the highest rated television event that originates from Memphis, Tennessee. So we're really looking forward to a great week there from the 29th to January 2nd, Friday afternoon.
Well, you're giving Navy the Peabody over the Big 12. Ooh.
Yeah, well, that's they have never stayed there in their time here, and they stayed out at the Hilton when they were here on Thanksgiving. So this is an opportunity, and quite frankly, Navy's bringing a lot more folks to Memphis. So it's an opportunity here, and again, I'm sure they've already been send out a word to John Burgess. They were all asking about, hey, can we just walk across the street to the rendezvous right across the street? Absolutely, you can go right across there, and we got a special visit at St. Jude Children's Research Hospital on the 31st. The captains and the senior players will be visiting with the folks at St. Jude, and I know FedEx is going to have a big camera crew there, and we're doing it right. In fact, today we're having an event at the zoo, and the zoo's got some surprises about which animals are going to pick the winners of the game, and we got some TV cameras going out there at the zoo right now. So it's really a wonderful event for Memphis, and again, really let's show up well. Let's have Memphians show up at the game. Got a great halftime show. We got high school bands coming in. The parade will be stepping off at I believe it's 3:00 on January 1st. So again, we're not the Rose Bowl parade. The Rose Bowl parade's in the morning, and the AutoZone Liberty Bowl parade's in the afternoon, January 1st, and that'll be telecast here. And so yeah, it's a real a proud event for Memphis. And so again, those of you who are interested in coming out the game, the weather prediction is pretty darn good. I think I know it's a couple of weeks out yet, but I see that it's 57 degrees is the prediction for game time kickoff at 3:30 on Friday afternoon. Great day there. On January 1st is on Thursday, so hopefully a lot of folks will have a chance to have a long weekend there and come out and join us there on Friday afternoon, the 2nd.
It's funny, after this freeze that we've had, I saw Christmas might be 65. It's crazy, the way the weather works. You mentioned the Navy response, and they're coming. What about Cincinnati at 7-5? How are the Bearcats people responding?
We've been in touch with them. They came to town last week, on their scouting trip, and we showed them around the practice sites. They'll be staying at the Hilton and practicing at MUS. I know they have some relationships with the folks at the U of M. We took them over to see the U of M indoor facility, they're planning to. They've got a great band, about 300 people in their band. The band will be staying at Graceland out there, the connection of the music there, the history of Graceland. And I know they're looking forward to the parade. Their band director's talking about how they're going to soak in the musical influence out there at Graceland. So, we're not quite sure how many folks they're bringing down, but they had some disappointment. Remember, in the middle of the year, they were ranked in the top 15, and they were 7-1, cruising along. Then they had a couple of bumps there, but it's a pretty good team. I think it's kind of interesting. I think the odds switch back and forth between Cincinnati as a favorite versus Navy as a favorite. I think after Navy won that game on television, and again, that should give us great television ratings, because that's one of our missions too, to showcase Memphis to the rest of the country. So I think the Navy is such a popular TV brand name that it'll give us an opportunity to showcase Memphis to the rest of the country and the world, because it's an international broadcast as well.
All right, the deadline, we are told by the College Football Playoff Committee and the NCAA schools and everybody else, is now January 23rd on all of these contracts with television, the bowls, and the possible expansion of the playoffs. What do you think happens on January 23rd?
David, that's the $64,000 question. We had a meeting last week with the SEC commissioner and the SEC, the bowls that have contracts. So we have contracts right now with the Big 12, the American, and the SEC, and of course they're all up at the end of this year's game. They talked about this was before the championship games. They said, well, their anticipation was that they would just have what we would call a rollover year. Basically, we'd have a one-year extension of the 12-team playoff on ESPN, and then during the year's time, there'd be the negotiations to get all those things prime. So all the bowls, for example, I know the Tampa Bowl and the Gator Bowl, everyone says, well, we got pins and needles with our title sponsor. We got to let them know what's going to happen in the future. And basically they assured us, well, their anticipation was that everything would stay in place. But then what happened was all the anxiety about, who was in the 12. So I'm thinking that potentially they'll get together, and it's really only two conferences that are going to make the call. It's the Big Ten and the SEC. Unfortunately, whether just they have the market power, the other conferences had to turn over the decision-making authority to those two conferences. So if those two conferences get together, I can see the potential of there being expansion from 12 teams in the playoff this year to 16 teams in the playoff in 26. Now, nobody said anything yet. I think everybody, and when I say everybody, it's the two conferences and their member schools are waiting to see how this playoff works out. A lot of people said, well, wait, we've only had this 12-team playoff for 1 year. Let's see how it works this second year. But, if it works out great, they have great television ratings. And Dave, I know you're a pro in the broadcast telecast business, but there's so much turmoil among television networks. When ESPN took over the SEC, and then the Big Ten grabbed off a combination of NBC, CBS, and Fox, and now they're starting to subcontract or license these games to the streamers. When I talk about streamers, we talk about everything on the internet, whether it's Netflix, Prime, Sports, Paramount Plus, those kind of things. So there's so much going on about switching games. I've just read recently that NBC, which gets some of the Big Ten championship game, is talking about selling their rights to that game to TNT, and so there's a lot of turmoil. And so the answer to your question is, I don't know, and I don't think anybody else knows. So, but there's a lot of competing interests.
Well, I think 16 makes sense. If there were 16 this year, Notre Dame would have been in, Texas would have been in, Vandy would have been in, the SEC would have got 7, Greg Sankey would have been happy. I don't know about the Big Ten, but 16 seems to be right. My last question for you, and it's a hard one. I know the ratings are really good, and I know that ESPN wants bowls for programming, so I don't think the bowls are going to go away. But how do you think you guys change things? What do you do to combat 4 more teams gone that are good teams and all the opt-outs? What's the answer for the bowl business?
And you're right, Dave, and we're looking at all the alternatives. We've got a great 67-year history and tradition of the bowl, and as Greg Sankey, when he was here last year, he said he can tell that it just means, of course he loves that phrase, it just means more. He says that he can tell in Memphis it just means more to the city. We don't have an NFL team, and so we've had great support. We've got about 150 local corporate partners, and we're certainly looking for more, just even if it's for a few tickets and bring some employees to the game. But we really have to make an impact here and be able to compete with what's going on. You hit it right on the head. There's going to be a lot of competition among the bowls for, how we're going to structure the conference contracts, how the television contracts work. We're so blessed and we're so proud to have AutoZone as one of the longest-running title sponsors, a local, consumer company that's right here, and AutoZone's a great partner. They're working closely with us, but we need as much support as we can get. That's why this is a key year, and I exhort everybody to come out, at least come out to the game and enjoy, the bands, the Drum and Bugle Corps, our halftime, Matt Stell with his country western presentation at halftime. So, yes, there's going to be a lot of competitive juices flowing here when we sit down with all the conferences at the game. Army Navy had the chance to sit down with Jim Phillips, who's the commissioner of the Atlantic Coast Conference, and we talked about it. There's some history with the Atlantic Coast teams in our game, and do we do contracts with a number of conferences, whether it's the SEC and the ACC and the Big Ten and the Big 12 and the American. Tim Pernetti was there, also the commissioner of the American Conference, and of course Navy's done a great job. The University of Memphis did a great job when they played in the AutoZone Liberty Bowl. So, David, we're going to be huddling up, but we do have to compete, and that's what I've told our sponsors and our folks here. We need to compete with these other bowls, and Jim Phillips said it best, and he said, The AutoZone Liberty Bowl has a great reputation, a great legacy, and but we just need to be able to have our ammunition ready, and when the deadlines start coming up, to be competitive and continue for years to come.
I don't know what it is, but I think the bowl business has to rethink their model, and they got to add something. I don't know, festival, concert. I don't know what it is. Greater minds that are promotional minds will get together, but I do think the model has to change a little bit. It's got to be more than just the game, because the meaningful games are going to be with those 16 teams. So you've always talked about reward and things of that nature, which is right, but there's got to be something else that we're just not thinking about.
And you're right, David. I think there's going to be adjustment, but one thing I want to stress is that there's 3 or 4 players on each team that maybe have the chance to, continue to the NFL. There's another 100 players, like Navy's bringing 110 players. None of those guys are going pro. This is a great opportunity for them and their families. And then, like in Cincinnati's case, there are 2 or 3 guys. There's a couple that will opt out, but there's another 100 players. There's 300 band kids. Their parents intend to have it. So it's a great institution, and it's a great opportunity for some lifetime opportunities. But you're right, and I agree with you. We do need to make some adjustments, whether it's timing, whether it's television, whether it's contract arrangements. So, yeah, we've got a playoff now, and we didn't have that years ago. But now we have to figure out how do we work with the playoffs and keep our relevance. So you're 100% right, and we welcome everybody's input and support.
He's the big cheese, the head honcho of the AutoZone Liberty Bowl, Steve Arrett. We'll talk to you next Tuesday. Thank you, my friend. We appreciate it. We got to take a break.
Thank you, David.
When we come back, down to Baton Rouge, our SEC historian Ron Higgins is standing by, and he's next.
Start your day with Sports 56 Mornings with Greg Gaston and Eli Savoy. Weekday mornings from 7 to 10, right here on Sports 56 and 98.5 FM.
Running a business is hard enough, but cleaning a business? Your time's too valuable for that. You need Hilo Commercial Services, dedicated professional cleaners with 15 years of cleaning experience. Hilo customizes your cleaning needs, and you get the JRD guarantee. We clean until you're satisfied. Shopping center, retail spaces, medical, legal offices, Hilo cleans it all. Visit MrCleanTeam.com. That is MrCleanTeam, MrCleanTeam.com for Hilo Commercial Services.
$5,000. That's the average amount of money people in the U.S. are now spending on gas in a year. $5,000. That's crazy. If you drive, you have to download Upside, the free app that gives you cash back every time you get gas. That's right. You can earn real cash back with Upside just by buying the gas you're already buying. You can literally start earning cash back today.
I use Upside every time I fill up, and I've already made around $300.
You're putting gas in your car anyway. Why not get real cash back? If you like free money, download Upside.
I'm saving the cash I earn from using Upside to help pay for a vacation later this year.
Download the free Upside app now to earn cash back every time you buy gas. Use promo code QUICK to get an extra 25 cents per gallon on your first tank. You can cash out anytime right to your bank, PayPal, or a gift card for Amazon and other brands. Just download the free Upside app and use promo code QUICK for a 25 cents per gallon bonus on your first tank. That's code QUICK for a 25 cents per gallon bonus.
Celebrate the new year with the AutoZone Liberty Bowl as we welcome the nationally ranked Navy midshipmen and the Cincinnati Bearcats to the biggest party in town. Great football and a halftime show featuring country music star Matt Stell. It's all happening at the 67th AutoZone Liberty Bowl game on Friday, January 2nd at 3:30. Get your tickets today by calling 795-7700. During the holidays, the Tennessee Highway Safety Office reminds you that fans don't let fans drive drunk.
Now back to Wolo and Friends on Sports 56. Here once again is the voice of the Tigers, Dave Woloshin.
We head back down to Baton Rouge. Our SEC historian Ron Higgins joins us, and big news in college football late last night. Clipper Manning said the word. Arch, his son, is going back to Texas. Steve Sarkisian said it would be good for him. Let's face it, he probably will make more money next year in Austin than he would as a rookie in the NFL. So that makes sense. Plus, he grows up a little bit more. They said physically and mentally as a football player. He got better as the year went on, and one more year would make him even stronger. What do you think, Ron Higgins? Good morning.
Good morning. I never doubt he'd come back. Mannings have a way of looking at stuff logically. And if you know the Mannings, all of them finished their college careers, all the way through. I don't know if this one will, but he knows he had to come back. He knows he got better as the year on. He knows there's a lot to learn. And all the Mannings have a pretty level head about that kind of stuff. They don't, of course, they don't need the money. That's one thing. But even with that, they understand as a quarterback, it takes time to learn everything and get to where you want to be before you go to the pros. And even then, even when Peyton went to the pros, he set an NFL record for most interceptions in 1 year. It was his rookie year. So there's a learning curve, and I think all the Mannings understand that, especially the latest one.
I think he had 2 interceptions in the last half of the year, 5 in the first part. So he got better as the year went on. How would you grade Arch Manning's year at Texas? They didn't make the playoffs, but they won a lot.
I'd say a B. He struggled the first 3 or 4 games, and then really got together. Played great down the stretch. Played exceptional against A&M. Down the stretch, he played really well.
Yeah, he did.
So I think he brought it back to like a B. Yeah. For a while it was, a C or a D. He was struggling early a lot, and he settled in and played really well the last 5 or 6 games of the year.
So that's a good story. Texas and college football all happy that a guy with a brand name and a star who's getting better is coming back. Shocking news this week, the Sharon Moore story at Michigan. He's out. Biff Pokey, of all people, is in. But what happened with Moore and the affair and what he ended up doing after that, this is just a crazy story.
I don't understand these head football coaches who also make a lot of money and then all of a sudden they just start, it's an attraction for them to have an affair. I don't get it. It's happened over and over again. Some of them, like Bobby Petrino, get a second chance or third chance. Others don't. This one's baffling, and I think because this one might be a little worse because he threatened to kill her. He threatened violence and put him in jail.
I think he threatened to kill himself
and himself. He needed to be put in jail where he is, and so it makes it even worse than the usual stuff. And now they got to go shop for a coach. So. Good luck.
Who do you think that guy should be? Let's face it, Michigan's one of the top 6 or 7 football programs in the country. Historically, they've always been. Whoever it is probably a sitting coach right now. A lot of people think Kalen DeBoer, but he made it clear he doesn't want to leave Alabama, which was kind of surprising to me. They're talking about Kenny Dillingham at Arizona State. That's his alma mater. I don't think he wants to go. Where do you think Michigan ends up going? Because this is going to mean another shakeup of the carousel here.
I know. That's just going to be a hard one because everybody's kind of signed up. But of course, people can break contracts. I still think. I know Eli Drinkwitz signed an extension, but I still think if Michigan came along and offered him, he might take that. I know Ole Miss fans think Lane Kiffin's going to take it. I think Lane Kiffin's going to leave it.
I don't think Lane Kiffin's taking Michigan.
No, Lane Kiffin's.
He's made with all $91 million in 7 years. You'd be crazy.
Yeah, that's a good question, Wolo. I don't think it plucks somebody from the pros, or who's out there left that would want to take this job on. It's a massive job, a huge pressure job, one of the pressure jobs they have in the nation, one of the high pressure jobs. That's it, man. This was a baffling one because it happened so late.
Yeah.
It happened. After recruiting and before the portal. So this is awful timing. But the thing is, people in the athletic department knew about this. They knew this. They knew this was going on.
Right. Well, they're afraid. You know what? You appear a head coach wields power, and a lot of times that comes with a fear factor. And I think that's why this went on. You mentioned the NFL. If things go bad for Baltimore, I don't think they're going to make the playoffs. I look at their schedules. I look at the Steelers. I don't think they're going to make it. Some people have said John Harbaugh would be a good replacement. I think they're going to stay away from Harbaugh's. I don't think that'll be the case, but it's an interesting dilemma.
I think John Harbaugh is probably a little different with his brother. It seems like it seems like he's not as testy as Jim Harbaugh was, or controversial or whatever. It might go another Harbaugh. You never know. But yeah, it's a tough situation for them to be in. I mean, really, but Michigan brought this on themselves, man. I mean, they cheated to get a national championship, and Jim Harbaugh left ahead of the posse. And then they end up with this coach, and then this is what happens. It's awful. It's just terrible.
Let's talk some games here, because we got the playoffs, and plenty of SEC teams are in. I thought A&M should have actually been the 6th seed. Ole Miss should have been the 7, just to avoid this Tulane rematch. But Tulane in Oxford, they killed them, but I think by 5 touchdowns, 45-10, something like that, the first time they played. It may be a little closer, but clearly Ole Miss, even without Lane Kiffin, is the favorite here.
Yeah, they're a 7.5-point favorite. I think Tulane's going to play them tough. I really do. I mean, I know Summerall's still there coaching.
Right.
He's not hadn't left yet. And he's very grounded about this game. I think Taylor will play very well. I think they'll, I know Ole Miss wants to prove a point, which is what makes this interesting. I think it's a 7.5-point favorite. I think Tulane loses, but they keep it within the spread. I think they'll play them.
You think it'll be that close, huh?
I think they'll play them a lot tougher than last time. I really do.
Huh.
But Ole Miss wins. But I mean, 7.5 points is a big spread. I mean, that's a big spread. I mean, Tulane may lose by 2 touchdowns. I mean, but I don't see them coming out and destroying them as bad as they want to. I just think Tulane will. I think Tulane will play really well, and they'll have to play well to stay that close.
How much of a factor do you think it is with no Kiffin and Golding, who's not going to be their head coach, is the guy? If he doesn't win this game, my gosh, they're going to go, we made a major mistake. There's a lot of pressure on him.
Well, he has a lot of pressure on him. I mean, LSU. Ole Miss is. Charlie Weiss is still there calling plays, and that's a big factor. I mean, I think that helps them a lot. I think Ole Miss will win this game, and they should win this game. I don't think Pete Golding's going to lose this game.
I don't either. All right, let's go to Oklahoma and Alabama. This one's in Norman. The Michigan really wants Kalen DeBoer, I think. He's already kind of said no. But if he lost this game, what would they do?
They may get him. All the Alabama fans may pack his bags for him to lose this game. Alabama lost. They lost to Oklahoma this year. I think it was at Oklahoma. Yeah, I think they played there once this year and already lost there. Oklahoma's defense is absolutely outstanding. Matirza, he's got a great quarterback, but he makes really big plays at the proper times. He can run them. He runs pretty well. He makes big throws. Their offense isn't dynamic. I mean, LSU played them relatively close. Their offense isn't dynamic. But their defense does not give up anything, man.
I know.
And Alabama's offense has struggled. This could be a picking game. Alabama just can't lose this game. They can't. They stumbled in the playoffs after getting hammered by Georgia. They lost Oklahoma earlier this year. Most time in rematches, I'll take the team that lost before. I mean, I must be stupid. I think Alabama's going to win this game. I'm dumb for saying that because I just saw Oklahoma, how good their defense is. But somehow, I think Alabama wins this game. And honestly, if they don't, I mean, really, the board may consider going to Michigan because
he did make the playoffs. He made the playoffs, and he's got to go to Norman too. That's the thing for me is this game is in Norman. All right, real quick before we run out of time, Miami at A&M. That may be the best game of the playoffs in the first round.
I believe so. I think it is. A&M they got hammered. I mean, they got beat by Texas, and there's some games down the stretch they weren't great. But A&M, for the most part, their defense is pretty good. It's at A&M. I'm going with A&M. I think A&M, they're tough to beat in College Station, but you got to really play well to beat them in College Station. And they come off a loss, and they didn't lose very many this year. They played pretty well, so I think they'll be fresh for this game. That they'll win the game.
He's our SEC historian, Ron Higgins, down in Baton Rouge. My friend, thank you. Happy holidays. We'll talk next Tuesday.
All right. Well, I'll see you.
Take care. That's Ron Higgins down there in Bayou Country. We take a break. When we come back, we go down just south of the border in Mississippi. The man who covers the Tigers like a blanket. That would be Jason Munz from the Commercial Appeal, and he's right around the corner.
Broadcasting from the Family Leisure Studio, we are Sports 56 and 98.5 FM.
Chris Price here with Metro Builders Roofing and Restoration. Let me ask you something. Are you seeing unsightly water spots on your ceiling, in your home, your office, or even worse, mold? Have you noticed shingles missing, pieces in your yard, or signs your roof just doesn't look right anymore? Here's the facts. What you see inside usually means there's already a bigger problem above you. At Metro Builders, we don't just guess, we inspect. Our team performs a full roof inspection right on site. We take detailed photos, document everything, and show you exactly what's happening with your roof. Whether it's a simple repair or a full replacement, don't let anyone tell you it needs to be replaced when all it needs is a repair. We offer free inspections, on-the-spot estimates, clear explanations, and yes, financing is available. Before a small issue turns into major damage, make the phone call that protects your home. Call me. 901-375-1717. That's 901-375-1717. Or check us out online at metrobuildersmemphis.com. Metro Builders Roofing and Restoration. We don't just build, we build world class.
Tito's Handmade Vodka is America's favorite vodka for a reason. From the first legal distillery in Texas, Tito's is 6 times distilled till it's just right and naturally gluten-free, making it a high-quality spirit that mixes with just about everything. From the smoothest martinis to the best Bloody Marys, beyond the bottle, Tito's has gained a reputation for giving back, teaming up with nonprofits around the world to serve its communities and do good for dogs. Make your next cocktail with Tito's and learn more at Tito'sVodka.com. 40% alcohol by volume, namely 80 proof, crafted to be savored responsibly.
Looking for the best prices on shirts, jeans, boots, and more? Frontier Western Store has you covered. At Frontier, you'll always find amazing deals on everything in the store. Unlike online and chain stores that run occasional sales, Frontier keeps prices low every single day, so you get the best deal whenever you shop. Be ready for winter with a full line of outerwear by Ariat and Carhartt. Beanies and coats galore, and then there's Frontier's world-famous boot showroom. Come shop new styles by Ariat, plus plenty of in-stock proven classics too. Whether you need work or dress boots, Frontier is the place. See thousands of boots by Dan Post, Corral, Durango, Rocky, Twisted X, and many more with daily arrivals. And Frontier makes Christmas shopping easy because everyone loves to see a new pair of boots under the tree. For the lowest prices every day, visit Frontier Western Store at 5880 Goodman Road in Olive Branch and at FrontierWesternStore.com. Locally owned and operated since 1967.
I somehow got on a Memphis barbecue algorithm on my phone.
Any chance it's because you constantly look up your own Central Barbecue radio spots?
I do not.
Seriously, come on, show me your browser history.
I will not. And it's not because of me looking up my own Central Barbecue spots. It's other stuff. But like I said, I'm on this Memphis barbecue algorithm, and I'm happy to say it's almost all people saying how great Central Barbecue is.
Well, of course, you can't beat Central Barbecue. It's the best barbecue in the world. Okay, what other stuff's on your browser history?
Can we just focus on doing a Central Barbecue spot?
Give me that phone.
Get off! Get off!
Now back to Wolo and Friends on Sports 56. Here once again is the voice of the Tigers, Dave Woloshin.
We talk Tigers with Munzie in a minute. He's brought to you by Ken Garland, Custom Home Builders. 3rd generation, that's how long they've been around. We're talking mid-70s in years, 75 years of building palaces or renovation with the innovation, taking all the new modern amenities. The theater rooms with the speakers and wires in the wall. I mean, those are really cool. And the theater seating, the California closets, the island in the kitchens, everything you've always wanted in your home. And you don't really want to move. You like your location, but you're not sure how to do it. He knows. 75 years of experience. Ken's dad started it. Ken's got it. Now William's in the business. You're not a 3rd generation business unless you're really good at it. And they are really good at it. And part of it is their whole philosophy. They see little details in the big picture all at once. But mostly, it's never done. I mean, they're with you the whole way. The job could be done for 6 months. You find something not working quite to your liking. They're there on the spot to make sure it is right. Go look at the website, Ken Garland, Custom Home Builders, KenGarland.com. And then call. He's really fun to talk to. He's a good guy to go along with just being great at building. That's Ken Garland, Custom Home Builders. What the heck happened in Louisville, Kentucky? Jason Munz, good morning.
Good morning. Louisville shot the lights out. Part of it, I think part of that is Louisville, and then I think part of it is Memphis. I really think that this, like, the reaction to the loss at Louisville has been a little bit, at least what I've been exposed to as far as the reaction goes. Like, I think it's been a little bit kind of overblown. I mean, listen, like, I think part of it is that it hurts more because it's Louisville, or it hurts a little more because it's Louisville and because it was a 26-point loss.
And yeah, you didn't compete. Let's face it. After the first 12 minutes of the game, there was really no competition. That's what hurts.
It did resemble the exhibition games a lot to me. It was kind of like a little bit of a mix of those two exhibition games where, you know, against Arkansas, Memphis had like a 15-point lead and then wound up losing by 25 or whatever, but that was never the case at Louisville. Like, they never led by that much, but it was a single-digit deficit late in the game. Like, I mean, late in the first half, with about 6 or 5 minutes left in the first half, it was still within striking distance. You were still hanging in there, but then Louisville just went nuts. I mean, they just started, they hit like 27 threes in like a 90-second span, it felt like.
Yeah, it did. Kaysen Pryor came in, who was 1 for 7. A kid who had hurt Memphis when he was at USF, remember?
Yep.
And a hot doggy kind of a guy, but, you know, he's the kind of guy you hate when you're playing against him. You love him when he's on your team.
Right.
And, you know, he hit 3 in a row. He's 1 for 7 for the year, for God's sakes. That was nuts.
He was 1 for 7, and then he hit 3 in a 129-second span.
Wow.
So, go figure. I mean, you know, like, sometimes it just ain't your day, and that's kind of the way I look at it with what happened on Saturday.
You know, I hate looking at like this big picture because it's kind of depressing. But Louisville's NIL budget, I hear, was right around $14 million. Right? Is that fair?
Mm-hmm. That's what I've seen 10, I've seen 14. So yes, I feel like.
Oh no, I've heard 16 and 17. I'm almost certain it's 14. Right there.
Okay,
let's lock in there. I mean, look, he had the number 3 portal team, and he has a one and done guy in Brown, the point guard. 14 mil. Memphis is what, 4.9 mil? Is that right? Somewhere in there.
I do think that it is somewhere in that neighborhood. Yes.
Okay, so that's a little more than a third of what those guys are spending.
Right.
So until Memphis raises their NIL budget for this sport, you know, and I don't know if they at this point think football might be more important to put the NIL money. You know, Penny's going to be playing with one arm behind his back. I mean, I hate to say that, but when he first started in this game as a coach 8 years ago, he didn't have to deal with buying players like this. Now he does. And if your budget is a third of what the other guys are, somebody told me what Texas is $20 million or something like that. How do you compete with that? Or Kentucky says $20 million. It hasn't worked out for them either. But I'm just saying that's pretty tough stuff.
It is, but like you just made, I think the opposite point of the other. I mean, like, there's two sides to the coin, right? Like yes. When you go up against a team that has 3 times your budget or almost 3 times your budget, like, that is more often than not, it's not going to work out for you. But then you look at Texas Tech, who is one of the leading spenders in men's basketball in the country, along with Kentucky. And Texas Tech got blasted by 30 against Purdue. That Memphis only lost by what, 7 or 8 or 9?
Well, you know what? They spent too much money on Toppin, and he spends too much money at the craps table because I witnessed that in the Bahamas. But they spent $4 million on him. Remember?
Right.
So that, you know, that's 80% of Memphis's whole budget. You got to. So there's 2 things here. You got to have the money, right? Like Louisville,
right?
And then you got to spend it
correctly,
which is what they did, and which obviously Kentucky did not.
Yeah. So yeah, like it doesn't. It's not always just as cut and dry, simple as, the team with the program with the most money is going to win out against programs that have less money. But more often than not, that's on a long enough timeline that probably is going to be the case, and that is sad. You know what I mean? Like college basketball college sports. It's changed. It has changed fundamentally. For the foreseeable future. And I mean, I don't know if I like it. And I feel like there's a lot of others who also don't really love it. Like, it goes back to the thing, like anybody can walk into the trophy store and buy a trophy. What fun is that? Where's the fun in that, right? So, but that's the here and the now. That is the reality of the situation. And it does make you think, if you're a Memphis fan and you want to continue to compete and be serious about your men's basketball program and try and do everything you can do to reach those lofty goals that you have, it makes you. I see where people might be worried.
Yeah, no, it is a little depressing. You need some guy, Uncle Bill. You need somebody to come up with big money that really wants to put it in, that cares enough to put that money in. Penny's going to have to figure that out. I know. In the meantime, Penny's got to figure out exactly how he wants to play with this team. I read your latest story, and a warning here: Munzie picks Vandy tomorrow. I got a feeling Memphis is going to bounce back, because here's the thing about Vandy. I know they're one of 7 undefeateds. I looked at who they've played. SMU is maybe their best win, right? I mean, they had trouble with Central Arkansas the other night. Maybe that was their stinker game. I don't think they've really got a great win there. So I'm kind of looking for Memphis to bounce back. Do you think he's going to go bigger? Are we going to see our 8th time in 10 games a different starting lineup?
For some reason I feel like whatever we see against Vanderbilt from a starting lineup perspective is going to be one that we've seen before. Who knows? Maybe not. But
wait a second. Based on the way you wrote that story, it looks to me like we know Doug McDaniel's going to start right at the point.
Yep.
And then Hakeem's going to start, right?
Yep.
Majak's going to start, right?
Yep.
I think you have, and Zach Davis is going to start, right?
And I think Aaron Bradshaw is going to be back in there,
so
which would be the same lineup as Louisville, if I'm not mistaken.
That might be. It might be. I thought I saw in there where you might have had, instead of Zach Davis, which I don't think would be the right move, but I thought you had Ashton Hardaway in there.
That would have been something that Penny said. Like he mentioned, if he like in an ideal scenario, he was just talking about, like Ashton Hardaway, Zach Davis, Hassan Abdul Hakim, and Aaron Bradshaw got to play up to a certain level for them to be as successful as they can be. He just mentioned those 4. I don't think he was talking from a starting lineup perspective,
okay.
But yeah, so I the odds are, the longer we go with these switching lineups, the odds shrink that they're going to continue to be different. Like the odds increase that somewhere along the way he's going to duplicate one of these ones that he's already done. I mean, he's done 8 already or 9 already,
right.
or 7 already, whatever it is.
7 and 9 games. Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, no, I mean, I agree with you that Vandy doesn't have. I'm not even sure they have a quad 1 win. They've only played 1 game, one true road game. I think it might have been at UCF or something like that. But listen, like they're very good. They're like statistics wise, they are highly ranked in a lot of categories. They shot. We've all talked a lot about how many threes Louisville took the other day. Vandy shot 38 threes against Central Arkansas in their last game.
Right.
38 attempts.
How many did they make?
Oh, I forget it. It wasn't like a high clip. Like
Right.
They are not shooting the lights out the way Louisville is. And I think honestly, if you go back and you look, the first 5 games for Vanderbilt, they were averaging like 33 or 34 attempts a game, and since then they're averaging like 24. They have pulled back on the amount of threes they are taking until their most recent game against Central Arkansas. But I don't know. It's I could see Memphis bouncing back. I really could. It's at home. Usually, Penny. Usually they don't string together, multiple bad games.
He's good against the Power Four, especially at home.
9-1 in the last 5 seasons against Power 4 teams. So yeah, it could very well happen that way. But I'm just going to need. I mean, they are undefeated for a reason, so I'm going to need to see it before I can make that prediction.
The only thing that worries me, honestly, about that lineup was offensively, they did not run stuff. Hakeem was one-on-one ISO stuff in the first half.
Yeah.
Doug McDaniel did that in the second half. I want to see this team move the ball with that lineup if they're going to stay with it. And they better close out on threes better.
Yeah, no kidding. But no, I thought they did that really, really well against Baylor. Like that was something that they did really, really well.
Hakeem didn't play in that game.
No, you're right. He didn't. I don't know. I mean, it kind of felt like that they were, just giving Hakeem more freedom in an effort to loosen things up for Doug McDaniel, because it was clear Louisville's defensive scheme was to just shut down Doug McDaniel, to frustrate him, to shut him down, and they did.
They did.
But I feel like, Penny was, dialing in on someone else to try and get Doug, freed up a little bit, but it did not work until it was too late.
Hopefully they figure it out tomorrow, and then their Saturday's game at Mississippi State, those 2 wins, you might be back in at-large position. We shall see, and we'll talk about it next Tuesday. Thank you, Munzie.
Thanks, Wolo.
That is Jason Munz from the Commercial Appeal. That'll do it for us. We'll be back tomorrow with the usual Wednesday lineup. Dennis Philippi. We got the round table to end it, and in between, a surprise. We'll let you know who that'll be tomorrow. In the meantime, Johnny Radio's next. Have a great day, everyone.